After a family gathering, my husband's sister pulled me aside and said, "Leave him or we'll make your life hell." When I told my husband, he laughed, "They're just joking." So I set up a test. The next time they tried to ruin me, I had cameras rolling, and their reactions when the truth was exposed were priceless. After a long family gathering at my in-laws' house, Ethan's sister, Olivia, pulled me aside as I was heading to the car. Her grip on my arm was tighter than necessary, and when I turned to look at her, her expression was sharp, calculated. I expected some passive-aggressive comment, maybe a warning to take care of Ethan or something equally condescending. Instead, she leaned in close and whispered, "Leave him or we'll make your life hell." For a second, I just stared at her. I actually laughed, thinking I must have misheard her. "What?" I said, half chuckling. "You heard me." She let go of my arm and smiled. A sickly sweet smile, like she had just given me friendly advice. Then, without another word, she turned and walked back inside, leaving me standing there, heart pounding. I got into the car, still trying to process what had just happened. On the way home, I told Ethan. His response? He laughed. "They're just messing with you," he said, shaking his head. "They like to push buttons. It's a joke." "A joke?" I repeated. "Who jokes about something like that?" "They just do. It's how they are." He reached over and squeezed my hand like I was overreacting. "I promise, they don't actually mean it." I wanted to believe him. I really, really wanted to believe him. But something about Olivia's tone, the look in her eyes, it wasn't a joke. I knew it wasn't a joke. And I was right. It started with small, annoying things. A few weeks after that conversation, I got pulled into my boss's office at work. "We've been getting some complaints," she said. I blinked. "Complaints?" "From clients," she clarified, watching me closely. "A few people have said you've been rude or dismissive." I felt my stomach drop. I knew that wasn't true. I had been working at this company for years, and I had never, not once, gotten a single complaint. "Do you know who made these complaints?" I asked. She hesitated. "I can't give you names, but one of them said they spoke to a family member of yours." That's when I knew. The next thing? My car. One morning, I came outside to find my tires completely flat. All four. I thought maybe it was just bad luck. But then, a week later, it happened again. And then, one of my neighbors casually mentioned seeing a woman with dark hair near my car the night before. Olivia had dark hair. And then there was the social media nightmare. Someone, a fake account, started posting embarrassing pictures of me from years ago. Completely out of context, twisted in a way that made me look bad. One of the pictures was from a client dinner 5 years ago, a group photo where I wasn't even drinking, but in the cropped version they posted, it looked like I was wasted. The worst part? Someone sent that picture to my boss. I had to sit through another uncomfortable conversation at work, assuring them that I wasn't partying too much. At first, I thought I was just being paranoid. Maybe I was connecting dots that weren't actually there. But then I remembered what Olivia said. And suddenly, it all made sense. They weren't joking. They were actually trying to ruin me. I told Ethan everything. I told him about the complaints at work, the fake rumors, the car vandalism, the social media posts. His reaction? A heavy sigh. A shake of his head. "I just don't see why they would do that," he said. "What would they even get out of it?" "I don't know, Ethan," I snapped. "Maybe they just hate me. Maybe they think I stole you from them. Maybe they want to control you, and they think I'm in the way. I don't know. But I know it's them." He looked frustrated, like he wanted to believe me but just couldn't wrap his head around it. "I think you're overthinking this," he said finally. My blood boiled. Overthinking? They literally told me to leave you or they'd make my life hell, and now my life is falling apart piece by piece, and I'm overthinking? I didn't say anything else. I just nodded. Fine. If he wouldn't believe me, I'd prove it. And when I did, there would be no denying it. I needed evidence. Hard proof. So I set up cameras. I installed small, hidden security cameras in our apartment, inside my car, and even in my office. I made sure they weren't obvious, one in a decorative plant, one facing the front door, another tucked behind a bookshelf. Then, I set a trap. At the next family gathering, I casually mentioned to Olivia that Ethan and I were thinking about moving out of state. It was a lie. I just wanted to see what would happen. Sure enough, within a week, my boss pulled me aside. I heard you're leaving soon, she said. I froze. What? One of our clients mentioned that you're moving out of state for another job. I felt a rush of cold rage. I hadn't applied for another job. I hadn't even thought about moving. They were still spreading lies about me. That was it. I needed to catch them red-handed. One night, Ethan was out with friends, and I was home alone when I heard the front door unlock. I froze. I had the only key. So who the hell was coming into our apartment? I grabbed my phone and checked the live security feed. And there they were. Olivia. And her cousin, Ryan. They crept inside, whispering. You sure she's not home? Ryan asked. She's not, Olivia whispered back. Hurry up. We just need to make it look like she's cheating. My stomach dropped. I watched as Ryan took off his shirt and threw it on the couch. Olivia messed up the bed, pulling the sheets down to make it look like someone had just been in it. Then, this part made my skin crawl. She pulled a used condom wrapper out of her bag and tossed it onto the floor. I nearly gagged. I hit record on my phone. I had them. I had everything. And they had no idea. I clenched my jaw and took a deep breath. I had one shot to do this right. I dialed Ethan's number. He picked up after a few rings. Hey, babe, what's up? I kept my voice calm. Oh, nothing much, I said. Just watching a live break-in at our apartment. Silence. What? Your sister and cousin, I said slowly, barely containing my rage. They're here. Right now. Setting up fake evidence to make it look like I cheated on you. Silence again. Then, I'll be right there. I wasn't going to wait. I was going to end this. I didn't hang up. I wanted Ethan to hear everything. Still on the line, I put him on speaker and set my phone down. My heart was hammering, but I kept my breathing steady. Then, I stepped out from the hallway, crossing my arms. Olivia was standing near the bed, fluffing the pillows to make it look like someone had just been in it. Ryan was in the living room, pacing shirtless, like he was trying to decide the best way to sell the scene. Neither of them had noticed me yet. I let them enjoy their little game for a few more seconds. Then, in a loud, clear voice, I said, "What the hell do you two think you're doing?" Olivia whipped around so fast she nearly lost her balance. Ryan jumped and grabbed his shirt off the couch like a kid caught sneaking cookies. The color drained from Olivia's face. But then, she did something that made my blood boil. She smiled. Like this was some minor misunderstanding. Like she could talk her way out of it. "Oh my God, you scared me," she said, laughing nervously. "I thought you were out." I didn't smile back. I stared her down. Ryan's eyes darted to the door like he was considering making a run for it. But Olivia? She had already shifted into damage control mode. "I can explain," she started. "Don't bother." I held up my phone. "You're on camera." Ryan froze. Olivia blinked. "What?" "I have everything recorded," I said slowly, enunciating every word. Every single thing. For the first time, a flicker of actual fear crossed Olivia's face. I walked over to the small plant in the corner, reached inside, and pulled out the tiny security camera. I held it up so they could see it. "I have you breaking in," I continued. "I have you planting fake evidence. I have you admitting, on camera, that you're setting this up to make it look like I cheated on Ethan." Ryan looked like he was about to pass out. "Olivia?" Her expression changed. She wasn't scared anymore. She was furious. "You little," she started, stepping toward me, but I held up a hand. I warned, my voice calm. "I've already called Ethan. He's on his way." I saw the moment panic truly set in. Ryan actually backed away from Olivia, like he wanted no part of this anymore. But Olivia? She wasn't going to back down. She took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and said, "You don't have proof of anything." I raised an eyebrow. "Are you serious?" I asked, my voice dripping with disbelief. "You just admitted it on camera." She crossed her arms. "So? Maybe I was joking." I laughed. A real, genuine, exhausted laugh. "That's your excuse?" I shook my head. "I don't think the police are going to find it very funny." And just like that, the fear was back. That should have been the end of it. But Olivia? She was always 2 steps ahead. Because instead of trying to argue with me, she smirked. And then she said, "Fine. You got us. But you really think Ethan's going to believe you over his own family?" That hit me like a slap to the face. For a second, I just stared at her. Because she wasn't wrong. Ethan had never taken my side against his family. He had never fully believed me. And now, even with solid proof, I realized Olivia wasn't scared of what I had. She thought she could talk her way out of it. And I was terrified that she might be right. We all heard the door slam open. Ethan rushed inside, his face pale, his eyes scanning the room. The second he saw Olivia and Ryan standing there, Ryan still shirtless, the bedroom a mess, the condom wrapper on the floor, his face twisted into something unreadable. For one heart-stopping moment, I realized how bad this looked. And Olivia? She took her chance. She ran to Ethan, grabbing his arm, her voice shaking. "Ethan, I am so sorry," she gasped, putting on the performance of her life. I walked in and found her like this. I didn't want to believe it, but look at the bed, look at everything. My stomach dropped. She wasn't just trying to ruin me. She was trying to flip the script completely. Ryan, to my shock, went along with it. "I didn't want to say anything, man," he said, rubbing the back of his neck, looking anywhere but at me. "But, this isn't the first time." My hands clenched into fists. They were doubling down. Right in front of me. Ethan turned to me, his expression completely unreadable. I wanted to believe he'd see through it. That he'd trust me. But the look in his eyes? Doubt. And for the first time, I realized I might have just lost. I saw it. The hesitation. The split second where Ethan looked at me and then at the scene Olivia had set up, the messed up bed, the shirtless Ryan, the condom wrapper on the floor, and I knew. He was questioning me. Even after everything, even after I had told him over and over again that Olivia and her family were trying to ruin me, he was still hesitating. And Olivia saw it too. She latched onto it. "Ethan," she said softly, squeezing his arm like she was comforting him, "I know this is hard. I know you don't want to believe it. But I wouldn't lie to you. I was trying to protect you. I felt like I was going to be sick." She was so good at this. So good at twisting reality, at making herself the victim, at playing the role of the caring sister who just wanted the best for her brother. Ryan, that spineless coward, kept nodding along, adding to the lie. "I walked in, man," he said, shaking his head. "I saw her and some guy, he left right before she got home. I didn't want to say anything, but he was making things up on the spot. And Ethan was listening. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I had them on camera. I had proof. And yet, they were still getting to him. They still had that much control over him. My chest tightened. This wasn't just about Olivia trying to ruin me anymore. This was about Ethan. About whether or not he was ever going to wake up and see the truth. Because if he didn't, then I had nothing left to fight for. I took a deep breath. I needed to be smart about this. I needed to shatter whatever illusion Olivia was trying to spin before it was too late. So, I played my biggest card. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and hit play on the video I had recorded from the security camera. The second Olivia's voice came through the speaker, clear as day, "Hurry up. We just need to make it look like she's cheating." I saw Ethan flinch. Ryan paled. And Olivia? She went completely, deathly still. The video continued, showing them messing up the bed, planting the condom wrapper, Ryan stripping his shirt off. It was unmistakable. Undeniable. I folded my arms. "You were saying?" I asked, my voice cold. Ethan's eyes darted from me to Olivia to the video playing on my phone. His breathing was shaky. He opened his mouth, then closed it. His entire reality had just shattered. And Olivia knew it. She snapped. Her entire fake persona dropped in an instant. "Are you serious?" she shrieked, rounding on Ethan. "You're going to believe her over me?" Ethan just stared at her. He looked like he had no idea who she even was anymore. Olivia let out a sharp, bitter laugh. "Wow. I guess blood doesn't mean anything to you, huh?" Ryan, who had been standing there uselessly, suddenly stepped away from her. I didn't know she was recording," he muttered, his voice shaking. "Olivia, I think we should just shut up." Olivia snapped at him, her mask completely gone. I watched her, stunned. I had never seen her like this before. Her perfect, controlled, manipulative act had completely unraveled. And then, she did something I never expected. She pulled out her phone and started typing. I narrowed my eyes. What are you doing? She didn't answer. Then, a second later, Ethan's phone buzzed in his pocket. I saw his face tighten as he pulled it out. His eyes flicked across the screen, and his entire body stiffened. What the hell is this? He muttered. He turned the phone toward me, and my stomach dropped. Olivia had sent him an email from an anonymous account. Attached were fake screenshots, edited texts that made it look like I had been cheating on him for months. I felt my blood run cold. I looked at Olivia, and she smiled. A slow, satisfied smile. Like she had just won. Ethan looked from the fake screenshots to the security footage still playing on my phone. His face was unreadable. And then, finally, he let out a shaky breath. He looked at Olivia. Then Ryan. Then back at me. And he said, I don't know who to believe. Silence. Complete, suffocating silence. I felt something inside me snap. I had just handed him cold, hard evidence, and he still hesitated. I had spent years defending myself, begging him to see what his family was doing, and he still wasn't sure. I looked at Olivia, expecting to see triumph on her face. But instead, she was staring at Ethan like she had just lost all respect for him. And that's when it hit me. Olivia didn't actually want me gone. She wanted control over Ethan. And right now? She had just realized that Ethan wasn't actually on her side either. He wasn't on anyone's side. He was just standing there, caught in the middle, too weak to make a choice. Too weak to take a stand. And I had just wasted years of my life on a man who couldn't even decide whether or not to believe his own wife. A strange calm settled over me. Because for the first time, I truly saw Ethan for what he was. Not a victim. Not someone trapped by his family. But someone who wanted to stay blind. Someone who would never stand up for me. And in that moment, I knew I was done fighting for him. But I wasn't done fighting for myself. I stood there, staring at Ethan, feeling the weight of everything crash down on me. He had proof right in front of him. He had seen his sister and cousin breaking in, heard them admit to framing me, yet he still said, I don't know who to believe. That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I had fought for this man. I had defended him, endured his toxic family, tried to show him the truth. And still, he hesitated. I didn't even feel anger anymore. Just emptiness. And Olivia? For a brief second, I saw panic in her eyes. Because she realized something, too. She had spent all this time trying to manipulate Ethan, trying to control him, trying to turn him against me. But now? She was seeing the truth just like I was. Ethan wasn't on her side either. He wasn't on anyone's side. He was just spineless. Weak. A man who would never stand up for anyone. And for the first time in my life, I saw her mask slip just a little. For the first time, she actually looked disappointed in him. Ryan, the coward, stood frozen. He was watching all of this unfold like he was just now realizing the consequences of what he'd done. And Ethan? He looked lost. Like he thought if he just stood still, if he just said nothing, everything would go back to normal. But I wasn't letting that happen. I took a deep breath. Then, in the calmest voice I had ever used, I said, We're done, Ethan. A beat of silence. Then, Olivia actually laughed. But it wasn't smug. It wasn't victorious. It was bitter. Like she couldn't believe I had finally reached my limit. Wow, she said, shaking her head. It took you this long to wake up? I ignored her. I turned to Ethan, waiting for his reaction. Waiting for any sign that this meant something to him. But he just stood there, shell-shocked. Like he hadn't actually believed it would come to this. Like he had assumed I would always stay, no matter how many times he... Now, after years of dismissing me? I yanked my arm away. No, Ethan. You don't get to talk now. I walked out of that apartment and didn't look back. But I wasn't done. I had one more move to make. The next morning, I filed a police report. Olivia and Ryan had broken into my home. They had vandalized my property. And I had video evidence of it all. By that afternoon, Olivia and Ryan were both arrested. Ethan? He called me over and over. He left voicemails saying he was sorry, that he had been stupid, that he had just been shocked and needed time to process everything. I didn't respond. I packed my things. I got a lawyer. And within a week, I filed for divorce. A few days later, I got a call from Ethan's mother. I didn't pick up, but she left a voicemail. She begged me to reconsider. She said Olivia had just made a mistake. She said Ethan was devastated. That he still loved me. I deleted the voicemail. Because love? Love isn't enough. Trust is. And Ethan had never trusted me. He had never stood up for me. And I was done begging for something he was never going to give. The divorce was brutal. Ethan tried to argue that I was overreacting. That we could work through this. But what was there to work through? His sister had been trying to ruin me for years. He had let her. And when I had finally handed him proof, he still hesitated. That was all I needed to know. After the divorce was finalized, I left Chicago. Moved to a new city. Started over. I didn't keep in contact with any of them. Last I heard? Ethan still tries to defend Olivia. But now? Even he doesn't trust her anymore. Because once I was gone, she had no one left to manipulate. And she turned on him. I heard from a mutual friend that they don't talk much anymore. She got what she wanted. And it still wasn't enough. As for me? I've never been happier. Because I finally realized I didn't just escape a toxic family. I escaped a man who was never going to love me the way I deserved. And I have never looked back.